Turn of the British Rallycross Grand Prix, the first time the event has been held since 1996, and an all-star cast ready to do business as we have a look at the first of the qualifying heats for the Grand Prix itself, with Pat Duran in the Ford RS200, the new British champion, leading on the run down towards Clervaux Corner, but the returning Will Gollop and Andy Grant there alongside him, attempting here to go after the new British champion. Will Gollop then returning to the sport, briefly up into second place, but he's going to go wide, and Andy Grant through on the inside, and now Arthur Gollop has a lot of work to do.
He has indeed, yes. His first rallycross for several years for Will, and the new car showing good promise, but it's Pat Duran with the RS200. And as you can see, the conditions here very, very wet indeed, and a good wash wipe system very, very important on these cars. Pat Duran leads it, Andy Grant in second place, and Will Gollop coming through there in third place with the new Focus. This car using the Z-Tech engine, which is the first rallycross Focus we've seen with this power unit. Most of them rely on the Cosworth engine, which of course would have been coming from the Escort Cosworth. There is Will in third place, looking for second as they come down, but it is still Andy Grant from Barnstable in Devon holding off the man from Kent, and Will Gollop it is, putting a lot of pressure now onto Andy Grant. Round the right hander there on the tarmac, lining up, trying to make a challenge, but Andy Grant having none of it. Andy, I would say, you would call him really the top privateer in British supercars. Lovely guy from down in Barnstable in Devon. Tremendous advocate of rallycross, came into the sport from the world of rallying, where he used to be the champion down in the southwest. But Will Gollop it is on his return, really mixing it with them, but this is allowing Pat Duran to get away with the RS200, the old Group B car. It may look like the RS200 of old, but there's a lot of new technology in that motor car. Mid-engined, of course, and a good configuration for a good road-holding motor car there. And in second place coming through, still Andy Grant. Will Gollop's in third, and coming up there in fourth place, it's Tony Bell with the Toyota Corolla.
Lights go to green for the next heat. Great start being made by Dermot Carnegie, in a very slow start there by Michael Jernberg in the red Ford Focus, splitting the two of them, John McCluskey in the Peugeot, but Dermot Carnegie then, now deposed British champion, sideways out of Clervaux Corner, up towards Hawthorns for the first time. The man to watch here potentially is Jernberg, because he really has got a fight on his hands now, and Dermot Carnegie desperate to try and pull away. And in these races, unlike the Nations Cup, the times are critical.
Yeah, and Dermot driving the car that Colin McRae has quoted as being the fastest machine he's ever driven in his life.
And you can see why, can't you? Because he's getting away, and Jernberg now is discovering just how difficult it is to catch and then pass that Peugeot.
Yes, it is, David. Well, the European drivers, some of them are not running such powerful engines as the British guys, who've got really no restrictions on the power of their machines. And Carnegie make use of this at the moment as he comes away with the ex-Will Gollop car there in second place for John McCluskey, near neighbour of Dermot over there in Dublin. And as they go away, we can see in third place Michael Jernberg, this very, very talented driver from Sweden. I've got a lot of time for Michael Jernberg. We've not seen the best of him so far this afternoon. He is running on Kumho tyres. Now, this is the first time that I've ever seen Kumho tyres in the British Rallycross, and it's been their first season in European Rallycross. And Michael was telling me this morning that they've really been using the 2002 season as really a test bed for these cars, and he's hoping for great things next year. Certainly as the year developed, he got better and better. Third in the final round of the European Championship at the Estering in Germany. This young man, he's going to go places. He could be quick later this afternoon as the track dries out, which you can see we've got far less spray now than we had earlier in the afternoon, and this strong wind is in fact drying things out a little bit.
And there's Dermot Carnegie, hard at work. He makes it look so easy, doesn't he? He's pretty unruffled behind the wheel of the car. He doesn't have to worry too much about what's going on behind him. He can get his head down now and concentrate on getting that Ford Focus round to the end of this race in the fastest possible time. John McCluskey still there second, and Michael Jernberg learning about Croft in third place, as Dermot Carnegie once again now heads for the loose section of the circuit. It's still very slippery underfoot for him, and there you can see total concentration, eyes fixed ahead, and he's going to find himself in a moment having to swing that car with the use of the handbrake around the hairpin here. Surface change once more from the loose to the tarmac. Arms crossed, floor the throttle. The car tries to squirm away from him, but Dermot Carnegie gathers it all up together, up through the gearbox, heading now up towards the checkered flag. Dermot Carnegie comes through to win ahead of John McCluskey, and then in third, Michael Jernberg.
Well, on the grid now, we've got Dermot Carnegie. Alongside him, John Haffey could be the danger man, and Per Eklund from Sweden. Just three cars out there at the moment, and a brilliant start from John Haffey. John Haffey getting away with the Escort Cosworth into an early lead from Dermot Carnegie. Dermot up into second place as they go into Clervaux. The Swede not far away with the Saab 9.3. Per Eklund there Been here before, but not on this particular circuit. There is Dermot Carnegie. Now, we know that Dermot was the fastest man on the first set of qualifying runs. If he can repeat that on these heats, he is going to be automatically going on to pole position for the Grand Prix. Let me explain to you that if you get fastest time on any set of timed runs, you get 1 point. Do that twice over and you automatically go on to the pole for the A final, because it's your 2 best of 3 runs that counts. Fastest time on each set of timed runs, 1 point, second fastest 2 points, etc., etc. But Dermot's not going to do it. He's pulling off at the end of that lap, just here in front of our commentary point. So Dermot Carnegie out of the race. Now, what is the problem?
No problem for Per Eklund, though. He's gained a place. He's got a lot of work to do, though, yet to catch up to the race leader, because long gone now is John Haffey, and Per Eklund swinging his way from tarmac to loose once again. Now, he's found how difficult it is to overtake around here with Carnegie out of the way. That gives Per Eklund a chance to try to catch this man. John Haffey doing a great job in this, and in a way, Arthur, he's lucky to be here, because yesterday he had all sorts of problems.
He did, yes. It broke a camshaft yesterday, David, and they worked hard on the car up at Scotch Corner last night, and they brought it back here today, and John Haffey rewarding the team very, very well.
Ludwig Hunsbett on the line, along with Ken Hall and Terry Briggs in the 6R4 that makes a demon start, and a dreadful getaway there from Ludwig Hunsbett. He eventually finds a gear, takes the handbrake off, as it were, and sets off, but that a disastrous start, particularly here, where he's not so much racing other cars, he's racing the clock.
He is indeed, David, and I noticed there was a lot of black smoke coming from that Focus as he did get away. I think the car is choking itself up on the line and flooding the engine, but Terry Briggs has taken full advantage of that, and there in second place we've got a man who really is here for the fun of it, Ken Hall, in the VTEC car. That's in basically a road car, rally car. He will not hope to be fully competitive, but he's here enjoying himself. But this is a good run coming here from Terry Briggs in the faithful old Metro 6R4.
And look at the way now that Ludwig Hunsbett is going. He's reeling in Ken Hall. Now, of course, Hunsbett here we can enjoy a great recovery drive from. He's going to be kicking himself because the clock really is going to beat him here. But can the Ford Focus come through to win this race? Possibly, yes. The way he's really flinging the car around. Ludwig Hunsbett now back on the power, heading towards the tarmac once again. He's reeling in the Escort Cosworth ahead of him. Ken Hall, any moment now, he's going to see the yellow Focus blast past, going into Clairvaux corner. Up the inside, Ludwig Hunsbett clobbers the curb, 2 wheels, it runs wide into the dirt. Absolutely flying, though, isn't he?
He is indeed. He's had a fairly quiet season, Ludwig, this year. We haven't seen too much of him in the European Championship. Says he's going to do a full season next year, which is great news for those who follow that championship. But he's having a good run here at the moment, getting that car up into second place, and Terry Briggs is not beyond his grasp.
There's a big crowd here at Croft, and they're really enjoying the action here, and you can see why, because Ludwig Hunsbett now sprinting away. Great acceleration from these cars. You heard people talking about it earlier on, the amazing performance figures of a modern-day rallycross car, and Ludwig Hunsbett now using that to good effect to try and get onto terms with Terry Briggs. It looks as though at the moment, though, the Metro might have the advantage, or does it? Here comes Hunsbett. They're going to be side by side. He'll blast past Arthur.
Yes, much more power from the Focus, I think, and perhaps better road holding than the old 6R4, but Ludwig really going well. Former European champion, but he again gets it very, very wrong through a Clairvaux, drops into the gravel trap, nearly loses that advantage. Terry gets it back again. Now he's gone wide, and Terry Briggs is through, I think. Terry Briggs in the chicane, they touch, there's a little bit of door handling going on there. Terry Briggs gets it back again, and Ludwig is all over the place. He recovers though, but he's not going to get a quick time here, David.
He's not going to win either, I don't think, because the Metro is ahead, and now Hunsbett drops a wheel into the dirt, the boggy dirt there, and he slows right down. The Ford Focus has got a problem. You suggested early on it might be choking itself up. Well, it looks as though there are big problems for Ludwig Hunsbett. Then he gets a tap in the tail from Ken Hall. Hall spins. Drama right the way to the checkered flag, and Terry Briggs of the Metro 6R4 is going to come through to win. What a race! Problems, though, for Dermot Carnegie. Obvious question. What's the problem?
I've now found out that we have jumped 2 teeth on the cam belt and bent the valves. So we're now changing the cylinder head. I had a spare head here. We're changing that. We're hoping to have it done in time so I can go in the semi-final. If I could win the semi-final, I get onto the back of the A final or D final, the Grand Prix final. So it's all to play for at the moment.
Now, John Haffey, we saw early on, make a demon start. So demon was it, he was penalised 10 seconds for a jump start.
We're trying to get it overturned simply because immediately after our race they decided to run on flags, and because they said no one can see the lights. So we're a bit of a guinea pig at this situation. We're the ones adjudged to have jumped it, and now they're going to change the actual way that we start the races. So it's slightly unfair, but we'll wait and see what the verdict is.
Back to the action, lights go to green. Good start being made by the European champion, Kenneth Hansen, but Michael Jernberg also makes a demon start there on the outside of the Ford Focus. Now here, Jernberg is a man that has got to come away with a good time. Kenneth Hansen's already had 2 good times, and so he should qualify for the Grand Prix, no problem about that. But Jernberg here, Arthur, has got to win this race, and he's got to do it in the quickest possible time.
Yes, but he's got away to a very good start, David. John McCluskey there in second place, all over the place also at the moment. Behind him, we can see Kenneth Hansen. Kenneth won't be too worried about that. He's just out there taking a look at the track conditions, I would think, more than anything else. He knows he's already in the top 7, so probably is John McCluskey, but it's Jernberg who really wants to go for this. There is, I know, a special award for fastest time of the day, and perhaps this young man from Sweden is looking for that, because so often in rallycross, in a day like today, we do often see the fastest time coming right at the end of the qualifying, because on a day when it's been wet and it's drying out and you get these fast guys right at the end of the afternoon, the track conditions are at their best, and he might well get fastest time out of this one. Who knows? He's certainly getting away from this duo, and John McCluskey still holding off the tensions of 10 times European champion there in the Citroen Zara, Kenneth Hansen, and John will be happy about that, but not so happy about that. He nearly lost it then, but he maintains that advantage over the European champion as they come away down out of the chicane onto the loose, back down that back straight. It's still Kenneth Hansen putting the pressure on to John McCluskey, but John looking very serene there as he goes down through that right-hand curve that leads into this ultra-tight hairpin. Touch on the handbrake there as they get the back end out to try and line that car up for an assault as they go away up back onto the loose, and a slight left-hand flick and through towards the completion of another lap, and it's still John McCluskey leading Kenneth Hansen. And of course this very likeable man from Rothmichael in Ireland will be delighted about all of this, and so will Michael Jernberg out there in the lead. This is looking good for the young man from Sweden. Kenneth Hansen still sitting there in third. Kenneth with perhaps only about 520 brake horsepower at his command, but oh, there is problems there for John McCluskey, and John has spoiled what would have been a very, very good result, and he'll be kicking himself there inside the Peugeot 306.
But no such problems for this man, because Michael Jernberg is on his way now up towards the checkered flag to win this race, and also to assure himself now of a good grid position for the British Rallycross Grand Prix. The car dancing across the loose up towards the checkered flag. Jernberg will come across the line and stop the clocks, and there you can see he slots in 4th on the Grand Prix grid ahead of Will Gollop. Pat Duran is on pole, and there's one more place to be decided on that grid for the B final winner after the break. Welcome back to Croft for the MSA British Rallycross Grand Prix. This is the B final. The winner of this race goes onto the back of the grid for the Grand Prix itself. And it's go! Lights go to green. The cars accelerate down towards Clevo Corner then for the first time. Good start being made by Ludwig Hunsbett, and also charging his way through there. You can see from the back of the grid is the Ford Focus of Dermot Carnegie. Somebody sideways, Andy Grant loses it. Hunsbett touches him. They're both in the gravel. Carnage at the first corner, also flinging the car off the circuit. Morgan Antonsen in the Saab, he's going to be able to rejoin, but disaster there for Ludwig Hunsbett. A very battle-scarred car indeed. Leading is Lawrence Gibson in the Metro 6R4, but at Clervaux Corner there is a battlefield. The red flags are out, the race is going to be stopped, and you can easily see the reason for it, because out of all of that drama at the first corner are a lot of badly damaged cars. But it's not everybody has seen the flag, look. Big moment there. I think that was Terry Briggs who eventually got the message. Well, Arthur, drama at the first corner and a few wrecks parked in the gravel bed.
Yes, everybody trying to get into that first corner first, and there isn't room for everybody. David, I'm afraid, and Ludwig Hunsbett's come out of this very, very badly. We also saw Kenneth Olsen, the former Danish champion, in trouble. There's Andy Grant's escort, Cosworth. Interesting thing is going to be how many of these drivers will they allow in the restart.
Well, here's a replay of it. Just try and work out where it all started. Dermot Carnegie hustling on from the back. But it looks like Andy Grant got a tap, and then they all shoveled him out of the way. Look at that, virtually half the field off through the gravel.
Yes, but we can see Dermot Carnegie survived it all, and he's come through into third place ahead of Jan-Veli Nordgaard's Subaru and Impreza. So that's a good move for Dermot, but the red flags brought it all to no effect. Now we're going to see it from inside Dermot's car. You can see Ken Hall's car there just to the right. Intense concentration and a brilliant start for the Dubliner as he goes up through the gears. Dermot Carnegie heading down into that first corner. Now what's going to happen? Oh, gosh, he must have been hit up the rear then. Did you notice that? And Antonson's Saab goes past, and Dermot really working hard there to control the car, looking for gaps through the traffic to try and merge successfully out of this one. And that's what he's done. Quick look down at the gearbox. Has he got problems with the transmission? No, I don't think he has. Dermot goes on his way thinking to himself, good, I've got through there, I'm in third place.
A rather depleted grid though for the restart. Lawrence Gibson on his own at the front. Lights go to green, away they go. Once more, Dermot Carnegie blasts away Morgan Antonsen, who was put to the back of the grid for that start we just saw because of a jump start at the very first time of asking. Has got work to do once more, but it's Gibson leading us across the cross. Goes Antonsen and he harpoons Carnegie and turns him around. Look at this. Dermot Carnegie is not at all impressed. After all the hard work that he and his team have done today, to be turfed off the road at the first corner like that is very cruel luck indeed. And Morgan Antonsen carries on, but Carnegie is going to be livid.
Yes, he's having very quick words with the marshal there, but of course the marshal has got no jurisdiction over this event. And Dermot, I'm afraid, is out of this event completely now.
That way. Go.
The marshal's telling Dermot Carnegie where he ought to be standing. We don't want any repetition of the old Martin Shanker incident when he stood on the road to try and get a race red flag. But that really is very cruel luck. Dermot Carnegie was up into second place and now he's going no further. And it doesn't look, Arthur, as though there's any suggestion at all of this race being stopped.
But at the moment it doesn't, David. But as they... Oh, it might be, because we've got the Subaru of Nordgaard and Terry Briggs in the gravel trap. Now then, will they allow it to continue? Briggs getting himself out. Briggs is out and going again. Where is Jan-Willy Nordgaard? I don't know. Can't see him. Is he in the gravel trap or is he not?
He's still going. Just got a glimpse. There it is, looking at the Subaru. But although they've got themselves out of the gravel, they could very easily have hit Dermot Carnegie's car. So if there's a car in a dangerous place like that, maybe they're going to have to force the hand of the clerk of the course here and say, yep, it does need stopping. If somebody goes off again and hits that Ford Focus, it's going to be very expensive. And Morgan Antonsen, once again, being very spectacular. Where's he going?
Well, I don't know. Once he gets off the track, he's going to find traction very, very difficult to achieve. And he comes back on, but Terry Briggs goes through to take the advantage over him as they go away to start another lap. Well, what a race this is. What a race this is. A race of attrition, really, isn't it?
You've got to feel, haven't you, for Dermot Carnegie and all the mechanics. I mean, they did a stunning job at getting that car back out and racing once again. And Dermot, two brilliant starts, really. He should have been on target to win this race, instead of which he's sitting there watching everybody else drive past, and that's Briggs spinning it. Round goes the Metro. Another one in trouble. How about this?
Yeah, Terry Briggs in trouble again. It's Lawrence Gibson who's way out in front, though. We know that, the former British champion, way out in front. There he is, Lawrence Gibson, and I think he's going to be sitting on the back of the Grand Prix grid if he's not unfortunate. Coming through then, Lawrence Gibson well in charge of this race now.
Wonderful sight and sound of the Metro 6R4 on full noise as it comes across the line into Clervaux Corner. Now, yellow flag there being waved to warn him about the Metro that has spun just up ahead of him. He swings his way now past the stricken car, using all of the road there. So the race leader Lawrence Gibson has gone past, and a red flag coming out, not surprising, with Terry Briggs' car sitting stranded on the road. Tony Bell and Jan-Willy Nordgaard here about to encounter the car. You can see why the race has had to be stopped. The bad news, though, for Dermot Carnegie is that enough distance has been covered to declare a result. There will not be a restart. That means that Lawrence Gibson goes onto the back of the grid for the Grand Prix itself. Now let's have a look at all the drama at the first corner. The lights go to green. Good start being made by Lawrence Gibson, but just watch Dermot Carnegie coming through, and also the red Saab of Morgan Antonsen, because any moment, like a missile, he's going to make contact with the Ford. Up the inside, across the grass, and bang! Right into the side of Dermot Carnegie. Into the gravel they both go. Antonsen gets out. Carnegie goes no further.
Well, let's take another look at this one now from another one of our camera angles. There you can see Dermot coming down, getting past Tony Bell's Toyota Corolla. Gibson is well and truly in the lead of this one. And Antonsen comes down through the inside of Bell and gives Carnegie such a hefty thump. Well, almost looked intentional, didn't it?
And this is how Dermot saw it all. Lights go to green, off he sets. Once again, that intense concentration. There's Morgan Antonsen on the inside. He, though, drops back because Dermot Carnegie charges away. Then, up on the inside comes the Saab. The car just does not seem to brake at all. And then wallop right in the corner. Round goes Dermot Carnegie. Even before it had stopped, he's shaking his fist. He's not at all a happy man.
Going into the first corner, I got hit from behind by Anderson, the Saab, and spun me off into the gravel trap, and I couldn't get out again. So that was the end of my race. We were very lucky to get the car going again, and I had come from the back of the grid up to second place, and I had a chance maybe of winning the final, which would have put me into the Grand Prix, but that's the way it happens anyway. So that's motor racing for you.
So with Dermot Carnegie in the gravel, Lawrence Gibson is on the grid for the MSA British Rallycross Grand Prix of 2002. Pat Durant, John Happy, Kenneth Hansen, Michael Jernberg, Will Gollop, Per Eklund and John McCluskey in through their qualifying times. They're the top 7 on the grid, and then Lawrence Gibson right at the back. On board with Kenneth Hansen, ready for the start. The British Rallycross Grand Prix is back on the calendar once again, and this, Arthur Debenham, promises to be a great race.
It is. It's great to have this race back. It was 20 years ago, David, since it started down at Brands Hatch, 1982, and here we are at Croft hosting the event for the first time. Pat Durand there on pole position, John Haffey alongside him, Kenneth Hansen on the outside. What a talented front row it is. And as they go away, we look from Will Gollop's car as they go down towards Clairvaux for the first time. Power into that first corner going to be very, very important indeed. And it is John Haffey who's got it. John Haffey with Pat Durand trying to come through on the inside there of Hansen's car, but he's gone away. Where has Pat Durand gone? He's down into third place now. Hansen up into second.
Durand fighting back. Whoa, look at this, the two-touch. Durand goes for a gap that wasn't really there. He hits Hansen. Hansen hits the barrier very hard indeed. Pat Durand is able to continue, but it looks as though he's got a punctured front left tyre. Kenneth Hansen, though, the European champion, is going no further. Well, was that a move that was on or not? There's more contact there. Look, John McCluskey being given a helping hand by Will Gollop, but Kenneth Hansen with a very badly damaged car indeed.
Pat Durand right down at the tail end of the order now. There is Lawrence Gibson. He's not going very quickly either. I think he's got vision problems with the car, and we can see now that Pat Durand, despite that near side front tyre being down, is trying to find a way through. And Will Gollop going out. Will Gollop retiring the Z-Tech powered Focus. Well, yes, it looks as though he's going to pull off. Yes, I'm sure he is.
Pat Durand, though, charging on. The car not looking too bad despite that puncture. Down he goes then, in towards Clairvaux corner. Swings right, off he goes, heading for the gravel. Oh, Pat Durand, the new British champion, as the tar finally cries enough. He's pitched into the gravel bed, and this a replay of the start from on board with Per Eklund. Ahead of him there you can see Pat Durand, who dives up on the inside. Going into Clairvaux corner, he goes ahead of Kenneth Hansen, then he runs wide. Hansen dives up on the inside. Then Pat Durand, losing second place, goes for a gap that isn't really there. He just touches the back of a rather unstable car of Kenneth Hansen, and that pitches them both off the circuit, and Hansen forced to turn sharp left into the barrier. This is how the Swede saw it. John Haffey is ahead of him. There's Pat Durand up the inside. Wide he goes. Kenneth Hansen retakes second place, swings into Hawthorne's, a very wet part of the circuit this, and suddenly Durand arrives from nowhere. Wait for the impact. Bang, there it is, and then wallop right into the Armco. And that Citroën is about 3 inches shorter than once it was. Pat Durand is in the gravel bed. It's been a rather expensive day for some here at Croft, hasn't it?
It has indeed, David. Yes, the big fellow walking away. Not going to make it a double here this weekend, and not going to make it 2 wins in the British Rallycross Grand Prix. So there we can see his abandoned car from Per Eklund, who continues along in the Saab. Per, I think, up now into third place. No, he's up into second, surely. Yes, second behind John Haffey, but a young man from Portadown in Northern Ireland really getting this one well sewn up, I think. But there is Per Eklund with the Clarion Saab 9.3. Really is experience telling in that car at the moment. He's kept his nose out of trouble most of the day, and you know, in order to finish first you've got to finish. Well, he may be not first, but he's certainly going to be second, I think. Michael Jernberg up now into third place. He'll be delighted about that. Young Michael going through there round the tight hairpin, going very, very wide. That's John McCluskey from Ireland. Lawrence Gibson, the winner of the semi-final, coming up with the 6R4. Always there or thereabouts, these Irish drivers. Great asset they are to British Rallycross indeed, but it's going to be one of them from Northern Ireland, I think, who's going to take this one, David.
Yeah, John Haffey, the man that won the Super Prix here last year. It looks as though he's going to win the Grand Prix as well. The Croftmeister, John Haffey, then leading. Great battle, though, here. John McCluskey just fending off Lawrence Gibson. The ex-Will Gollop Peugeot ahead of the Metro 6R4, but there is John Haffey. It looks as though he is going to win the British Rallycross Grand Prix, accelerating his way now up towards the line. He will blast through to start another lap, and there you can see the Escort now starting the last lap of this, the MSA British Rallycross Grand Prix, the start of a champion. John Haffey then, with nobody around him, he can concentrate on getting the best lines. He's got to contend, apart from with a slippery road, the loose section, the sun at parts of the circuit blinding him as well. He goes past Kenneth Hansen's crippled Citroën, and John Haffey now on his way up towards victory, hunched over the wheel. He's got a big gap between himself and Per Eklund there in second place, and this is how you win in Rallycross. Head down, inch perfect. John Haffey coming up towards the hairpin. He'll swing right, he'll get back onto the power. He will then make his way up towards the checkered flag. John Haffey here at Croft is going to win the British Rallycross Grand Prix. Here he comes then now, the flag at the ready. It's going to be victory for John Haffey, and he is absolutely delighted. Very unhappy though, Kenneth Hansen.
I had a fight in the start with Haffey and Pat, but Haffey come quite early and passed me, and then Pat came in the end, and I saw that I had no chance to match him, so I went to let him through on the inside, and I passed him on the other side of the corner. But then when we came out of on the fast bit there, he hit me on my rear wing, so I just spun off.
Well, it's rotten luck there for Kenneth Hansen, but good fortunes for the top three, of course. John Haffey, Per Eklund and Michael Jernberg, who made it to the podium.
I do a good start on the first and second gear, but on the third and fourth gear I have not so much power. I drive with a restrictor in the engine, so I have about 100 horsepower less than the other guy. So I lost one place to Per Eklund, who take me to when we brake through the first corner, and after that I have to follow him, and he drives so fast, so I couldn't do anything about it. So
it was very nice to coming back here. I have been here so many times in England before, and we have not been together for many years. I hope this was the start now, so I hope we're coming back here for Europe Championship and of course the Grand Prix.
Fantastic. We've had quite a torrid British series this year. We've been very quick everywhere we went. So to win this at the end of the year basically is a showpiece and just means everything. Is basically 2002 for us. It's been a fantastic weekend. The British series is one of the fastest in Europe. I think we've proved that this weekend. And we like having to go at the Europeans, and it just shows that British is still best.
So the champagne moment for the winners, Michael Jernberg, Per Eklund and John Haffey!
What a day! The British Rallycross Grand Prix is back and the event is confirmed on the 2003 calendar. We'll see you then.